Good morning, YouTube. It is a beautiful sunny day in January here in California. My name is Amanda, and welcome to our little backyard farm. We do the best that we can with what we're given, and we've always wanted to live out in the country, and we have always wanted to have animals and grow our food, and so we've been doing that to the best of our ability here where we are, because as my friend Jess over at Roots and Refuge likes to say, turn your waiting room into a classroom, and that's what we've been doing. And so I'd like to take you guys for a little walk around, show you guys what we do, and kind of how we do it. My ultimate goal, I guess, is for people who are in urban settings, like we are, that you can learn from some of the successes and failures that we've had, and that we can hopefully help some of you guys out there who live in the city who feel trapped or challenged by the space that you have or the circumstances that you're in, and let you know that, hey, you can do a lot of things even in the city setting. So let's have a little look around and we'll kind of talk about what we're doing. Alright, so this is our kind of backyard area that is kind of the pasture, I guess, that you'd put, air quotes there. Unfortunately, we've been struggling the past year or two to get grass to grow out here because it's so heavily trafficked right now. I'd like to try and figure out a way for us to try and section it into two areas, like have one half available to the animals at a time, and be able to let the grass grow so it can look nice back here. And that's, you know, recycled Christmas tree, because we do in fact actually have goats here, which we'll let out in just a second. That's our goat pen over here. It's all winterized so we can try and keep the rain off the animals. Unfortunately, it does need to be mucked, but here in the city you do have a challenge with what to do with all the bedding, and we have to put it in our green bin. Good morning, girls. Hi, sweet Jane. That's Jane Eyre and Betsy Ross. They go over to the patio immediately because they don't want to walk in the mud. You see, their bedding is getting a little gross, but we just mucked out doing some other projects. There we go. And now we have to wait for the green bin to get picked up, which only happens once a week. So you're stuck for the entire week until you can be able to do all the projects. So things kind of pile up. But here, let's see. I'm moving the hay feeder here for the goats. So, because they don't like to actually go in their pen during the day. They want to be out in the sun. There we go. So, they're all set up. Jane wants to go get her grain right now, but she can wait for a little bit. Anyway, okay, so that's the goat pen. The chickens have free reign of the yard at this point. I would really like to be able to get a fenced off area for the chickens, but the problem that I face there, this is the chicken coop door. This is the back gate to the alley where the bins go. So I can't really fence off an area without blocking off this gate. So, which the chicken coop is also all winterized. And probably the bedding is okay in there. It's dry, at least. The goat pen, we're having a problem with the drainage, so it's damp. But and then this is our vegetable garden that's a little bit of a mess because it's winter, so it's been a little bit abandoned. Coming up pretty soon is going to be the growing season, so I'll start tearing all this out. Well, not all of it, but a lot of this. Tear it all out, clean it up, get ready, amend the soil. I've already got some seed starts in the house, which we'll discuss probably in another video. But yeah, so the garden is peacefully waiting. And then in here I do have a kind of a patio garden, container garden, because you do what you can with the space that you have, and I had all this empty concrete, so fill it up with stuff we can eat. And we'll go over a more detailed tour of exactly what I have growing, what's winterizing, what's going to come out, all that stuff. And then if we move into the front yard, okay. So we have some leftover bark from a previous project. We have another project coming up that we're going to talk about in just a minute. And then I have more containers growing along the side yard here. And all the forks are because there are so many cats in this neighborhood. So we end up with half a dozen or so cats always around the place. So we have the containers here. And see, some nice cat damage where they dig things up and try to use my containers as toilets. So, and then this is another thing with the green bin, is that you have to wait for the green bin to be emptied before you can do a lot of cleanup. So I've been pruning my trees out here. This one is a fruit salad tree. I believe it has 2 peaches on it, a nectarine, a plum, and an apricot. And we've only gotten a couple of nectarines out of it 2 years ago. This last year, unfortunately, the tree had leaf curl, so we got nothing off of it. So I have to treat that here in the next couple days. And then this tree over here is a 4-in-1 apple tree. It has 4 different varieties of apples on it. And that one already has been pruned, and it already has a beautiful little praying mantis nest on it, which makes me thrilled because praying mantises are awesome bugs that like to help us with all of our pests. And then I just have other things on here that mostly flowers, just to kind of look nice. During the summer there's usually some California poppies on here, and then we have the rosemary, and the marigolds are everywhere in here just to protect the tree roots from the nematodes. And then otherwise it's all just, you know, look pretty. On the other side of the front yard, my husband David has been going through and doing a cool project that we actually ended up filming a couple days ago. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to that footage, and you can see everything that's been going on over on the other side of the front yard that we're doing. We're doing a project over there for our kids. All right, Mr. P, what are we doing out here?
Well, here in the city we have a lot of projects that we'd like to do. And filming is a little complicated because there's construction going on our very street. They're putting in water meters. It's kind of, well, it's big city life, right? Behind me, there's this little area. There used to be a great big plumbago bush there. And for years, Amanda wanted to have a front yard garden. And we said, well, she asked me, hey, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? And I said, no. She said, why? Like, because we only have one front yard. It's, you know, yay wide. It's a city front yard, right? And she said, but I really want a garden in the front yard. I said, honey, I've given you the backyard. I've given you goats. I've given you chickens. Let me have my front yard. That didn't work. Didn't work. Because for Christmas this year, she came up with this brilliant idea of the kids really want a garden in the front yard. And I, like a sucker, said, okay, we'll do it for the kids. So we're doing it for the kids.
But the kids are very excited about it because it is their garden space.
No, I mean, they're actually thrilled. When we gave them that for Christmas, they were just, this is a huge deal. Here's the layout. So there used to be a great big plumbago bush here. We have cut that down. You kind of see what's left of it. Ironically, when you're in the city, you have one green bin, which I have sitting here, and that green bin is limited in how much waste you can put in it. So when we do big projects, it sometimes takes days to put it in there. And sometimes our neighbors help us out. Hey, I got room in mine, it's trash day. But today was trash day. And we have an available green waste bin. So I think we're gonna time lapse some work that we're gonna do on this. Probably won't get done in one day because I don't wanna work on it all day.
Time.
Because time and stuff. But we'll get as much done as we can, and then we will keep you posted as the progress continues on. So enjoy.
cannot believe how fast this man can work. He's already dug out all the roots from that horrid plumbago plant. I mean, granted,
It was a beautiful plant.
it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I put it in 8 years ago,
Yeah.
and it was beautiful. Like, it came all the way out to, like, well,
Healthier than any of our children, let's just say that.
it came out well past the porch. But, no, it was gorgeous. It was big and beautiful and bushy and had little blue flowers on it. But this was the only space that we really had that we could sacrifice to be a garden. And granted, half of it is still going to be like in the shade, but because that's just the way the sun goes, because it goes across the back of the house. And we have goats in the backyard, so couldn't really sacrifice any more space back there. So this is where it's going to be. The bed over here is going to...
That was the first one that you really wanted.
That was my first little, like, foray into the front yard. Claiming it one tiny square foot at a time. But that whole bed is going to come out, and their garden is going to go here from the porch all the way to the property line over there, which is all the way right at the edge. Excuse me.
Sorry. At
the edge of right here. So where that fence is, that's where the garden is going to end. So a little bit past where this existing bed is that I did a little experiment with. It didn't go super well. I put winter squash in here, but it was already like mid to late summer when I put them in. So I didn't really get anything off of them because it got cold too fast and they suffered. But I did have loofahs in the little pots that were like rescue loofahs from a friend, and they did well for a little while, and then they decided to give up. But that's how it goes.
The new area is going to come all the way out here to the property line. Joy about not having a ton of spaces, you literally have to make space out of whatever we got. So it'll be like right here. I think this is the corner of it right here. That'd be a nice big bed. I think what are we taking this one out, Amanda?
Yeah, this one's gonna come out, and we'll try and reuse as much of this dirt as we can to fill the beds, because the kids are it's gonna be a fenced off garden because cats. Cats are a very big issue where we live in the city because there are people who feed the feral cats. And so there's many cats. They then visit my house to go potty after they've eaten their fill of the food. So we figure if we put a thin fence, a wire fence around here, something that's not really going to hold their weight, they can't walk on it, it might help try and temper that so that they're not pooping and peeing in the food.
What do you guys do to keep cats out?
Yeah, any tips?
Serious.
Some things work, some things only work for a little while, some things only work if you're there. Like spraying them with a hose, that just means that they're scared of you. They're not scared of the hose, they're not scared of the fact that when they come over they get sprayed, they're scared of the fact that when they come over and they see you, they're gonna get sprayed.
Tell them about when our next door neighbor we had that sensor.
Oh yeah, we did try a motion sensor sprinkler for a while.
It was awesome.
Yeah, we put it over here in the side here to try and keep them out of this bed, but it had quite a radius on it, and the neighbor's gate is right here. So when he came through the gate, the motion sensor caught him and it sprayed him. So that was real fun. But he's really good natured. He's really sweet.
He thought it was funny. In fact, he immediately ran inside and asked his little daughter, to bring something out the gate for him.
Yeah,
and she came out, just got soaked, and he's sitting there laughing his butt off. Then he came over and said, "Hey, what's the big deal?"
More tractors. But yeah, no, he immediately then started asking about where he could get one because he wanted to start pranking people he knew. But
as one should.
As one should. But yeah, so different things like pepper spray and things like that, I don't think they're terribly effective because you have to reapply them so much. It's just not really effective. I have tried eggshells in a couple of my containers, and that works for a little while. But then something came in and tore things up. But yeah, so working hard or hardly working. What are you doing? at that big strong man. And look at how full that green bin is already.
Huh?
So that's one of the big problems we have, is how full that green bin gets and how fast it gets full. So I have a ton of branches all over the place that still need to go in, and that'll have to wait for next week because the green bin's already full.
Which means we'll make a pile of whatever green stuff we have.
Yeah, you just kind of make a pile on the side until you can get to it.
Maybe a compost. That might be a good idea to figure out what we can compost, what we can't. To, I don't know, do something a little greener.
It's on my list to one day have a compost pile, but at this point I don't really have the space to sacrifice to a compost pile. But my big strong man, my muscle, farmhand, husband, all those things. Love you. So another thing we need to talk about is this tree, this Japanese maple tree. It's been here probably about as long as the plumbago, about 8 years.
Since we started to like actually invest outside the house.
Yeah, since we started like putting some work into the yard to make it look nice-ish. But because it does get a lot of shade, it's still only this big. It's the same age as the tree over in the other planter that is much bigger and healthier and everythinger. And this one is just, we kind of asked around and saw if some people might have wanted to maybe take it, but no real takers, and I'm not really interested in waiting forever for someone who might be interested. And it's got this fork right down the middle.
It's not a lovely tree.
So I don't know that it would be a terribly stable tree if it grew a lot more. So I think we're gonna go ahead and take it out so we have space for the kids' garden beds.
Look, there's more roots.
Yay, more roots. Because that's what you needed, David. You needed more roots.
People, you gotta know your roots.
You gotta put your roots down.
You gotta put your roots down. Even if it's in
And then rip them up.
Tear them up as soon as possible. As soon as you can get anywhere else. Actually, we've been married for what, 10 years?
10 years.
In August it was. And one of the things we were dating, we dated for like 5 years before we got married. One of the things we always said was, someday we want to live in the country. Here we are in the middle of the city. And I think there's a lot of people who have that same desire, that same passion for, I don't want to be in an urban area, but I do have to live. I do have to pay bills, have a job, etc. So we're here until God opens up a door elsewhere. And it really has to be the right door, because we got roots down in an amazing church. We got this amazing family. Grandparents go in both directions. And the kids have a great school. So I mean, right now, this is where our roots are. And it does hurt sometimes when you pull up roots. But if God's opening it, God's working the plow, it's going to happen a lot faster than if we're trying to do it. So in the meantime, make the most out of what we got, and that tree's got to come out to do what we want to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So goodbye, Japanese maple tree.
Sadness.
Sadness. All that's left.
That feels dirty.
It feels so
sad.
wrong, but it was in the way. So,
Getting in the way of progress.
yep. Plans change over the years.
Take all the trees and put them in a tree museum. You could charge people $1.50 to see them. Is it the wrong there?
A tree museum. Interesting. See, we've just about peaked on what we can possibly do in the yard. I still have a ton of yard projects. Like, I haven't done any of my winter pruning yet for all these roses out front. So, you know, there's that one that's almost as tall as the house coming up here right next to the survivor, the Japanese maple that we're not going to pull out. This tree rose, whatever. It's a rose bush that thinks it's a tree. It wants to be a tree. Every year it gets this tall, and I hack it all the way down, and it still wants to climb all the way up. But so all the rose bushes are looking a little raggedy because it's winter and they're supposed to be hacked back. So, and the dog, who is chasing the reflection of the sun off the phone. Hi, Shasta.
That's what I found when I was.
Oh yeah, our beware of dog sign. Vicious.
She's fierce.
Vicious, fierce
Beware.
creature. Vicious guard dog. Beware.
Did she just say be aware? Like, guys, maybe a dog
Yeah.
might have pooped on the ground.
Be aware of the dog.
Oh, she sees a monkey shine. Oh, interesting. This is probably something you'll eventually talk to people about. But your cups. Your
Oh,
little
look at that.
seating cups.
Yeah,
These are fun.
that used to have a pastilla champagne squash in it that apparently did not get thrown away when...
She labels them. And at one point it had King of the North in it. So she had reused this one.
Yes, it got reused.
That's cool.
Reduce, reuse, and reuse, and reuse, and reuse.
So all told, I found, in just the cleaning up of all this junk, I found 3 tennis balls, 1 baseball, a golf ball, a frisbee, a beware of dog sign.
All things that the plumbago ate.
Yes, things, I mean the kids go in there. I found an earplug, that was kind of fun. Didn't use it, that was yucky. Several of these lovely little friends here.
No, look, chicken food. Free chicken food.
Here. And it's now in the backyard.
Well,
Also, nice things about being in the city, small houses.
yeah.
Alright, well that's a good day's work.
Huzzah! Thank you for joining me on this little walkabout tour of our property and everything that we're trying to do here. We hope that you guys really liked this video and that you can look forward to learning some stuff from our channel. Please like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed it, and let me know down in the comments if there's anything that that you want to know, that you want to see more of, and we can definitely work on putting some videos out about it. Never feel trapped by your circumstances. Never feel like you can't do something because of an outside influence. My husband coaches our kids in baseball, and he tells the kids on the teams all the time, if you tell yourself that you can't do it, then you can't do it. The question isn't, can I do it? The question is, will I do it? So ask yourself that. If you aren't gardening because you feel like you can't, is it because you're telling yourself that you can't? And if you are, change the statement. If you're telling yourself that you can't do something, then you can't. Because you're your own worst enemy in that situation. But if you tell yourself, I can, and I will, then you will find a way to do it. No matter where your roots are, no matter where you're planted, no matter where you feel like you're stuck, you can grow where you're planted. See you next time.